Sheldon Keefe's perspective and the other NHL coaches that reached out to him after he was let go from Toronto and signed with New Jersey.
Let me guess, they were all super supportive.
This quote was making the rounds yesterday on Twitter from Kevin McGran. Spoke to Keefe, wrote an article on Keefe and spoke to him, and this was the quote. "It was a tremendous honor to coach the Maple Leafs," Keefe said. This is in the Toronto Star. "There's a lot that goes into that. I've had a number of well-established coaches in the league reach out to say that I should be happy now that I get to coach in the real NHL. Toronto is quite unique. It's not like the rest of the league." Sheldon Keefe.
Where are all the men?
What a league of losers. Losers. You get to coach in the real NHL what's the subtext? You get to coach in the real NHL where there's no one pays fucking attention? Yeah. Can you please send me that link? I have an edit to make to my fucking book. I got to add that to a chapter. That's the most pathetic quote I've ever heard in the history of this sport. No. Put that shit back up on the screen. "It was a tremendous honor to coach the Leafs," Keefe said, being complimentary of the place where he coached. "There's a lot that goes into that. I've had a number of well-established fucking losers in this league reach out to say that I should be happy that I get to coach in the real NHL." And then he says, "Toronto is quite unique. It's not like the rest of the league." Right.
We care.
No one fucking cares.
Well, the Brat Pack
Like,
cares.
no. Oh, this is why no one likes Toronto. No. Bullshit. It's the truth. If it weren't the truth, the salary cap wouldn't be $6. There's going to be an NBA player making more than your entire favorite fucking team in the next half decade. Oh, you get to coach in the real NHL. What a bunch of fucking losers. Gary Bettman should seek out whoever the fuck this is and grab them by the collar. What do you mean by that? What do you fucking mean by that? What they mean, the implication, the subtext is explicitly no one watches the NHL. It's a non-factor in North America. There it is in plain English. Plain fucking English. And anytime you have a criticism, if you don't like it, then just don't watch. Well, then no one does. No one does.
And yet,
These guys, the Stanley Cup playoffs are getting their asses kicked by Caitlin Clark. She plays in fucking Indiana. Dude. Because she's a star. She's a star. And the NHL doesn't have those. And if they ever get one, they criticize them, they beat them down, and they don't like them. Standing out is a bad thing. There it is. He's probably quoting coaches who have won Stanley Cups, which means the greatest winners in the National Hockey League are losers. And that is a terrible, terrible place for your league to be as a sporting league, as a product, and as something to make money on, which is the goal, by the way. Welcome to the real NHL. That should send a shiver down Gary Bettman's spine. Okay, where should I put my money? Should I put it here or there? And not that fucking place.
Oh, lots of people lining up for that, Steve. Lots of people.
You allergic to success bunch of baby losers. Welcome to the real NHL. That's one of the most shocking things I've ever heard from someone allegedly working in professional sports. If your name's on the cup, they ought to scratch it off. That's fucking horrible. Holy shit.
It might just be a simple acknowledgement that Toronto is a bigger media storm than the rest of the world.
I also would...
This rant is a great example of what it... Yeah.
Yeah, the comments are going to be hilarious on this because they'll prove your point.
No, bullshit. I wish... Dude, there is a me for every NBA team.
Oh, I know. No, but what I'm saying is that they'll reinforce the point, which is, the poor players in the media. I'm like, well, then watch another sport. Watch another sport. It's brutal.
Yeah. You bunch of give back your paycheck.
You should want to work in a market like Toronto where people cares. You should want to be a coach here
because everybody knows. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Because everybody knows the person that actually gets it done here, will be a god. And Brian Burke said that when he took over the job. He's like, it's the toughest job.
Yeah, because he's not a coward. He wanted the Toronto job. He embraced the spotlight. Firing him was a mistake. It was an enormous mistake. They eventually corrected it. I think they did some very good things. But firing him and then being like, who should we replace him with? Oh, I don't know, his protege? You fucking idiots. If you you replaced him with Dave Nonis, you morons.
Yeah.
You morons. Okay, we don't like Brian, so we're going to put this guy who's worked with him for 90% of his career. You fucking donut. How stupid are you? Anyway, sorry.
If you look at the
ratings
for Leafs playoff games against the ratings of any other team, you'll understand what we're talking about. And if game 42 in this market means more than any other game 42 in the other markets, that means when the Leafs finally reach a Stanley Cup final, it will mean more than any other market. That's just a fact of the numbers.
Don't tell the Oilers that if they go to the finals.
No, it's the truth about the mass of hockey fans that cheer for this team. So, and you should want to be a part of that. And it's a shame if any coach looks at that and says, I don't want that gig. There's too much pressure. Yeah. It's too much eyeballs on it. No, you should embrace that, and you should want to win here and be the person that can accomplish that.
Here, listen. If you've ever bought a hat, if you've ever bought a shirt, if you've ever bought a seat to put your ass in, if you've ever watched on TV, if you've ever watched a YouTube clip, if you've ever consumed the NHL in any way, shape, or form, just know from that quote, you're not wanted here.
No,
they don't want you. They don't want you. They don't want you.
No, a select group of people who don't want media attention probably don't want.
Listen, it comes down to this. They want to do their job, and they don't want to be questioned about it. That's what it comes down to.
That's shocking.
It's annoying to have to answer questions about your work every day. And by the way, I can relate to that because we have plenty of comments criticizing our work every day, and sometimes you go, man, this kind of but then you realize, oh my God, how lucky am I?
It's so much better than the other way where nobody gives a shit.
So when people
and then August rolls around and I'm like, I wish someone would call me a fat fuck today. like I could use it. I could use it.
Feed me attention.
I'm nom. I'm Steve. How many calories is hate? I'm nom. I think Jesus Lord, that's so shocking.
It's a loser quote, but I also think it speaks to it is a loser quote, but it speaks to a little bit too the old school nature of a lot of these guys are former players. A lot of these guys have come up in the NHL.
It's a culture when
it was this whole hiding away in the southern markets or whatever. The reason that the southern markets were like that is because they were new. I can tell you that. That I don't think that it was easy for any of the original 6 franchises back in the day. I don't think it was easy. I don't think it's ever been easy. I don't think it's easy to coach in Boston. I don't think it's easy to coach in New York. I don't think it's easy to coach in Montreal. I don't think it's easy to coach in Detroit.
Boston never gets brought
Boston's the real NHL. Shut up.
New York is in the conference final right now.
Yeah. I don't think.
Are we all on drugs?
And Laviolette, have you seen the amount of reporters at his press conferences?
It's New York.
Yeah. So my whole point.
Horrifying.
It's also
horrifying.
It's also there is a bit of a. Don't be surprised as Mike Babcock, who was one of the guys that put together it's not a coaches union, but it's the coaches group, right? He was one of the big formulators. Which has helped them get better salaries and that sort of thing.
Sure.
Don't be surprised as he is one of the primary guys still within that group, obviously. If that kind of comes from him a little bit too. And that's...
I wonder what the person who said that quote asked for last time he had a contract negotiation. Was it a raise? Anyway. Where the fuck do you think that money comes from? The sky? It's from people consuming the sport! You loser!
Yeah. Well, and that's why I said earlier...
naive child! Are you serious?
I don't think that players are going to be able to hide in these markets anymore. They're developed now. Florida's a 25, 30-year-old market. Nashville's coming up on 25 years. Columbus is 25 years. Minnesota's 25 years. These are not These are not new markets. And in fact, the new markets, Vegas and Seattle, are exploding. And that's where I think the NHL players of today, sure, they can go and they can hide or whatever. I don't think it's going to happen for very long. And I look at, so when we talk about Sam Reinhart, which was the original part of this conversation, I understand the media attention is going to shift to football in the fall. Totally get that. But as soon as the Super Bowl's done, boys, you're not hiding.
But they're going to try and keep those markets that way with this mentality.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
100%.
I don't think so because they're going to be worth too much money.
But they're not. It's not them. It's the coaches. It's the guys on the ground. It's the guys who have been in hockey their whole life. They're going to want these markets to stay this way.
Well,
where they can go and hide. And
I don't think
they
the owners
leave
do,
the
though.
real NHL to Toronto.
The owners do
Welcome
not
to
want
the
that.
real NHL. You fucking losers.
It's loser mentality. There's no question.
Wow.
There's no question.
Well, no, you just want to get curb stomped by every other major sport league. You don't want to do shit when it comes to helping the game and the league grow. You're going to take your paycheck. You're going to take and take and take from the sport, give nothing back, and leave us with a big old bunch of bullshit. And you're going to be even farther behind all these leagues than you already are. You're a disgrace.